and filling in that booty so it looks like she has a bubble butt. Hello, fellow doodlers! So today's art piece is a little special because it is a commission piece from one of my really good friends, and she basically had this idea in her head that she wanted to have a piece of art inspired by backs, attractive backs, for her home. And so she sent me this Pinterest board of beautiful imagery for me to reference, told me to do what I will with it, and I said, say less. So I sketched a few ideas, ran it by her, and we ended up landing on this sketch of this person who is in the process of taking off their shirt. A little scandalicious, a little spicy, and as a wise person once said, spice is the variety of life. I don't know if somebody actually said that, but it rhymes. Anyways, so this is version 1, and version 2 will most definitely be available shortly. Stay tuned, and yes, I am absolutely shamelessly plugging. But for version 1, I'm starting here, as you can see, with my initial sketch. And basically what I've done so far is I filled in the general shape of it, and I've alpha locked it before I start rendering so that I wouldn't need to worry about coloring outside the lines or having to clean up anything. And so I'm now just really going in and drawing out where the shadows of this piece would be. And something you'll notice about the way that I render is that there is no rhyme or reason. And that is because I believe that just like how you make measure with the heart, when you cook, I draw with the heart. And whatever the heart is feeling is what the heart gets. So you'll notice that sometimes I'm rendering the hands and I'll jump to the hair and then I'll suddenly jump to the clothes only to go back to the hands. The sequence that I draw would probably win the meme of never let them guess your next move because honestly, I don't even know what I'm gonna render next. Here I am rendering her lower body, making sure that all her curves are filled in and making sure she looks like she got curves because she does. Girl doesn't skip leg day at the gym. And filling in that booty so it looks like she has a bubble butt. Next we moved on to rendering the hair, and drawing hair is something that I've always kind of struggled with, and it's something I really want to get better at, so maybe it would be my New Year's resolution for this upcoming New Year's, because this year is literally almost coming to an end, which is crazy to me. So yeah, maybe my next New Year's resolution. But anyways, so this person has very long hair, very luscious long locks. I imagine that it can't be very fun to take care of such long hair, but for the purposes of this art piece, thankfully she will never have to comb her hair because she will probably never ever move. And if she does move, then it is time to call an exorcist. That is out of my hands. This next part, I am going back in and basically adding this backlight effect to her clothes and then also to her body. And now we are back on rendering the hair because, as I forewarned people, there is zero method to the madness that is happening here. So here I'm taking a darker shade of color and going in to try to add more depth and adding texture to the hair. In retrospect, I think I drew that shadow a little too dark, but it's okay, we fix that later. Adding more depth to all my shadows by emphasizing the separation between light and dark. Adding more shadow to the rest of this drawing, like the hair, because you know, the hair's not just floating in space. She exists. She casts a shadow. Here I've actually started going in and erasing parts of my line art wherever the light is really hitting to have like a sense of airiness. Don't know the actually professional term, but it felt right, so I did it. Drawing these blobs were actually probably my favorite part of this entire art process because there were literally no rules. Like, what are you gonna have to say about a blob? There was no rhyme or reason, and you might find a pattern there because I personally believe that there should be no rules to the art process and it should be a cathartic experience, and that was exactly what drawing these blobs gave me. So while there was no rhyme or reason to the actual drawing of the shapes, there was a method, again, to the madness, which is rare, but there was. And so the inspiration here was really to have these ambiguously floral shadows being cast on the body to create this moody and ambiguous feeling for the end result. At this point in time when I was drawing these blobby flowers, I was not sure about how the end result would actually look like. I was kind of just doing a shot in the dark and crossing my fingers and hoping that looked like something. You guys can let me know in the comments below what you think and if you think it was a successful attempt or whether, I don't know, whether you're like, let's see what version 2 brings and hopefully that'll tickle your fancy instead. But me personally, I was actually quite happy with how she turned out and I hope you feel the same way. Just to explain what I'm doing here, I am duplicating a layer of the ambiguous blobby flowers and basically offsetting it a little bit so that the shadows that fall along the, what I'll consider the background wall, is slightly offset from the way that the shadows casted onto the body, because that, for me at least, made it feel more realistic, just like how, you know, normal shadows, if you're sitting by a window, would fall differently on yourself versus the floor or the wall. Okay, finally finished erasing. Whew, I feel like that took a little longer in the process than I would have liked it to, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Next, I am basically fortifying the original shadow stripe lines that I drew because I felt that they were a little too skinny, a little too lacking substance, and so I added another set, and then here I am cleaning up where the shadow is casting to give more of an illusion of the wall and the floor meeting, since I don't actually have an actual line to show. And then just cleaning up the rest of the shadows so that there isn't too much of an overwhelming, just like blobs of dark covering her entirety. And this, cue the drum roll, is the final result. If you're curious about version 2, or if you're just curious about which one's going to be picked, then definitely stay tuned, and you can do that by clicking the button. You know which button I'm talking about. So go click that button, and I'll chat you next time.